Now what do we do?
Yeah.
I'm going to pick a fight.
Say again, y'all.
Of course you realize this means war.
Well, we didn't get dressed up for nothing.
Hello, welcome to the War Room from Steelers Sanctuary. I'm Bob Quinn. We have Trent Ging, and today we're going to look at wide receivers, free agents. We'll do more draft stuff on wide receivers this weekend. The Sunday draft show is going to be about wide receivers. But before we jump in, our new football coach, Mike McCarthy, had a press conference today, and I gotta say, Trent, after watching him break down, I put it out on X. Kind of rooting for the guy now. I mean, you can tell how much it means to him. I don't know that he's going to be any different than Mike Tomlin, other than the fact that it looks like he gives a shit, and we know he's going to be. Maybe they'll spend all the money on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know how you feel. I kind of liked it. What did you think?
Yeah, obviously you could tell by the emotions that this does mean a lot to him. I think one thing's for sure, and not just taking away this from the press conference, but also other things. I mean, he talked about how many text messages he got from this, that he got more from this than he did the Super Bowl, which it's probably a little embellishing, but I mean, you get the picture. I mean, it's probably a lot of family and friends and things like that he's grown up with in the area that they're all very excited for him. He's obviously was in his emotions about coaching here, a place that he grew up idolizing, as a kid, and local guy. It was comical that Art mentioned it. 4 words in to the press conference, and then says, "Oh no, but that's not why we picked him." Yeah, that was just in your opening sentence.
I'd have had more respect for him if he'd said, "This is a hometown boy. He really wanted the job, and guess what? We said we're going to do it."
Yeah. I don't know. It was kind of interesting the way that the whole thing went. But I'll say this from a standpoint of he has to be hearing what the fan base is saying about him. And there's probably not going to be anybody who's going to work harder than Mike McCarthy this season to make sure the Steelers win. I mean, he if it's his hometown team, he grew up idolizing this franchise. He has an opportunity to coach here, which means a lot to him. And he hears the negativity from the fan base. Like he's got to be wanting to just dig in and really try to make this the best that he can.
It really swung. After I was listening to the run up on KDKA, and it was still Starkey was giving him shit, and Pompiani wasn't on today. He was there for the press conference, but Pony came on, and Pony and Muller not fans of the hire, and he has the press conference, and it goes from 80% negative on Saturday to where it's been 60% negative the last couple of days, to all of a sudden everybody starts calling in saying how much they love the guy. So they did a poll, and it was up to 50-50 approval rate. And I think it's important, and I've kind of heard this point today. Are we disappointed in the process and who we didn't get? Yeah, I think we are. But at some point, you got to kind of recognize this is a guy who, and all due respect to Mike Tomlin, who everybody knows I wanted him out for a while. I don't know that he loves the Steelers like Mike McCarthy loves the Steelers. And maybe there's some passion that comes back because of that.
I would say, yeah. I would definitely say that that's part of that is, I mean, Tomlin was gassed and the messaging had gotten stale. And I mean, there's, a lot surrounding him right now inside and outside of football. So that weighs heavily on you at the end of the day. And I mean, Tyrone, his message that I put up a minute ago, I mean, he look at the last sentence for him. It wasn't my first choice, but feel way better today. I mean, that's probably where a lot of people are. It's like the initial shock and awe of the reaction of, we found out Saturday We didn't even go through the interview process with the Rams guys, which I think probably brought way more negativity toward McCarthy than had they gone through that process and then ended up with McCarthy, because at least you could justify it, right? Like you could say, hey, we did turn over all the rocks. We heard Art talk about we're going to cast this wide net, blah, blah, blah. They didn't cast a wide net. They had a face-to-face interview with 3 guys, and that was it. And they picked the guy that they were going to pick from the beginning.
That's the widest butterfly net you have ever seen.
Yeah, right.
They got it on Walmart for $9.99.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I'm going to be interested to see. And, Tyrone brings up with the wide receiver thing. You guys brought up last night on Here We Go, and I kind of threw it out in your chat, that when you look at the overall and you think, 5 out of 19, not very good. But when you look at day 2, which is where he got all his big guys, man, I'd argue 5 for 5, definitely 4 for 4 in the second round.
Yeah.
And I would consider Ty Montgomery a hit, even though he's kind of like a guy we may talk about a little later, Deebo Samuel, in the fact that he was maybe a little bit more running back than wide receiver for most of his career.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
Which, speaking of which, let's jump into why we're here to talk about some wide receiver free agent targets. And I know this first guy.
Yes, so there are. I tried to go through and take a few guys that are pretty realistic targets. The Mike Evans, if he is a free agent this year, I don't think Mike Evans is looking to jump ship. He's probably going to want to finish his career up in Tampa, so I didn't want to go after a guy like that. So I took away some guys that I thought, number one, could fit. I started working on some of this a little around the McCarthy news. Wasn't exactly sure where we were going with the whole McCarthy thing, but Romeo Doubs, first of all, I've liked this guy when he was coming out in that draft class. I really liked him a lot. I just felt like there was something about him, the way he's able to run routes. And I didn't realize this year. He led the Packers in receiving yards. Now, Watson wasn't in quite a few games this year. He only played in 10 games. But Romeo Doubs ended up being 724 yards. And so, like, when I looked at potential contract for that guy, it's not a 1,000-yard receiving year. He didn't end up with 10 touchdowns. Actually, I'm missing where I put that in here. But he's a guy who's a very, very solid number 2 receiver in this league. And we need a guy like this desperately. He can do a little bit of everything. They use him in so many different ways, and we're going to get into that with the film and just kind of show why I really like this guy. But his average depth of target is 12.2. I mean, when the hell's the last time we've seen 12.2 for somebody who's not just catching go balls like what we had with Pickens or even with DK Metcalf this year? So, I mean, Dobbs, even though he's not the fastest receiver in the world, he dropped in that draft because of the speed, but he knows how to utilize angles and the way he can stack the DBs and the way he kind of uses leverage on his routes to create separation. He's pretty nuanced in his route running. So I really, really like Romeo Doubs. And if the Packers are dumb enough to let this guy walk into free agency, he's definitely a guy that I'd be interested in taking a look at here.
Well, let's watch some tape.
All right, so we are going to go. Dobbs is lined up at the bottom of the screen here. They're in the 12 personnel set. The thing that I like about Dobbs, for a guy who's not a pure burner, he's crafty with his route running and the way that he sells his fakes. He starts getting an inside release and Johnson. I mean, this is their top corner also. Johnson is their top corner for Chicago. Johnson's playing outside leverage to start this thing out. And if you just watch the way that he's able to kind of get the initial look like he's going to run a deep ball. So he gets inside release because of the coverage on the outside. He fakes that little head fake right there in the middle of the field. Like he's going to break this thing over the middle. And then he loops back around here. That puts Johnson immediately in a trail technique. And look how he just angles his way to the sideline to open up to Jordan Love to make that throw manageable. Because if he flattens down toward the goal line right there, the safety over the top is going to be able to get there. He saw the safety when he made that break, or when he made that little spin around. He knows the over the top coverage is there. He's going to just create separation by working his way down toward the sideline on this play. And Johnson just never could recover out of the trail technique. And of course, Jordan Love does put this ball pretty much right on the money over top too. So, I mean, I love the way that he uses leverage and the way that he's able to utilize some things. And that separation
really
opened up and against nice yak.
Here.
Yes. Yeah. This is where the second angle really shows how he snaps this route back out right there. That looks like he's coming straight across the field right there. So that's a great job of utilizing his body language to tell the DB I'm coming across. And then the way he just rolls this thing back around. And right here, Jordan Love, you can see he looks at him. He's like, he's got him. And he just delivers the ball right on the money for him, keeps it up high. Johnson can't recover. I mean, that's just great route running by him. I was going
to say, and that's no slouch corner. I mean, first of all, if a guy runs that clean of a route, I don't know that there's 2 or 3 corners in the NFL who could cover that route with the way he sold it over the middle, kind of looking like a deeper drag route, and then all of a sudden cuts it back out to the sideline. I don't think. I mean, unless you're getting help over the top from the safety, I don't think you can defend that if you run that well.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about this, Jalen Johnson was a guy that a lot of us wanted. Remember, there was the trade rumors that the Bears were going to trade him. Everybody in Pittsburgh was like all in on going after that guy. He's a very talented corner, and he's a longer guy also. So that's also what makes that play, I think, kind of stand out to me. I mean, you've got maybe one guy, Patrick Surtain's maybe the only guy in the NFL that could even try to cover that route the way that he ends up putting that thing across. So I really like the way he ran that route.
And then do we feel like Shar's got a good question here? More players will want to come to Pittsburgh with a change of coaching. I don't necessarily think more, because they always people want to play for Mike Dolan. But I think different. I think if I'm a wide receiver and a quarterback and a running back now, if I'm a skill position player, there was a Steeler tax. I don't think there's a Steeler tax anymore. There might be on defense, depending on who we get.
Yeah, I mean, whether we believe the stories or not, Shaheed choosing Seattle over Pittsburgh, allegedly he wanted to go there because of the offense. Jacoby Myers, reports were the same thing with him. Mm-hmm. Those decisions get a little more difficult with an offensive-minded coach, and the way that McCarthy does spread the ball around. I mean, that's always been kind of his MO in the West Coast. And the West Coast offense in general is about spreading the ball around, and everybody gets opportunities, right? I mean, you don't have to have the one stud guy that you utilize 100% of the time. Now that guy probably gets featured more, but I think that the West Coast offense will open that up for other players as well. Because we talked about it. I mean, if you came here as a receiver, you were getting maybe 500-600 yards receiving as a wide receiver too last year. That was it. Wouldn't matter who came here.
Yeah. Now you might have 2 or 3 800+ guys.
Good. Definitely could.
So let's look at this next round.
All right, next route, Dubs is at the bottom of the screen this time in a 1-on-1. This is a 3rd and 8. He just runs a simple out route, but again, he does a really good job with his route. Again, he's not a fast guy. So this is what I really like about him is he understands leverage. Watch the way off of this break, he comes up, he pushes up into the corner here. Now, this is in the Chicago game. He gets an inside release. Again, so now the corner's got to be thinking this is a potential slant route. You see the safety kind of dropping into the middle of the field to see if this is a slant route. He's got the outside leverage, which he's kind of funneling in there. But Dobbs fights through this contact right here, so he has some physicality to his game. And the way that he immediately snaps this outside, this is the thing. We talked about Roman Wilson not doing these things well. This is what it should look like. The way he's able to get off of that, get outside, give a throwing lane to Jordan Love, and a 3rd and 8 turns into a 1st down.
And one thing I did want to comment on Jordan Love here. This ball is gone whoops, hold on. This ball is gone right here.
Right now. Yeah.
And I mean, yes, he's caught to the inside, but he's got a handful of jersey. I mean, this is borderline defensive holding right here. And then boom.
Yeah. But again, I like how Dobbs fought through that contact. So sure, he could have had a holding penalty, but how many times do you see a receiver when they get the jersey tug, they stop on the route? He doesn't do that on that play. I like the way he fought through that. And that's a chain. He's a chain mover kind of guy too. So like when you need that first down, this is something we've missed in Pittsburgh a lot. He's definitely a chain moving kind of guy. I really like him for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So on this one, Dobbs is actually the guy lined up in the slot. Oh, no, we're back at the out route right now. Sorry, I thought we moved forward. I kind of
I'm sorry, I put it on.
No, you're good. That's okay. You're good. You're good. All right, he's in this slot at the bottom of the screen right here. So again, this is just now using timing. So you can see the way he uses his timing and his break to kind of set up the DB. This is patience right here. So he sees right here, it's probably a zone coverage. He's going to come up, and he just takes a hesitation right here, which is going to allow the bottom receiver, which I can't remember if that was Watson or not, to kind of clear out, which pulls the corner further upfield, and then he snaps the route out. So that's understanding, number one, not only what you should be doing on the play, but what your teammate next to you should be doing on that play as well, which I think is something that's important because too many times there are so many talented wide receivers that don't understand what the entire play should look like and how to leverage that play. LaFleur draws up good plays, and this is just an example of how he used that to his advantage.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bob.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
I like the timing of it. I mean, so it's not just a guy who understands like how to run crisp, clean routes, but he understands like the little nuances of timing inside the routes too. Because I mean, let's be honest, if we're going to run the West Coast offense, that's a timing based offense, and you need a guy who understands how the timing works at all times. And Love showed on that play too. He understood the hesitation was coming, then the breakout, and Love's getting rid of the ball as that's happening. So I mean, everybody's in sync, and when everything's working that way, that's a great thing to have.
Absolutely.
So this is actually the very, very next play. So on the very next play, he does that little hesitation before breaking this thing across the field again, finds himself right in between the DBs. I think it might have been a linebacker on the other side of the field there. So again, he does a hesitation in the first one and snaps outside. Now this time it's a man look, and he's going to snap this thing right inside as soon as he recognizes that he's one-on-one with this DB and he's kind of face up on him. So I just think that's again, man, he's very good at setting up these timing routes, and Love gets rid of the ball on time again. This is what the West Coast offense looked like, ladies and gentlemen. If Mike McCarthy gets a guy like this on the field, he's going to utilize him a lot. And
I'm really struck by, Dobbs flattens this route and runs kind of parallel across the field. And remember, we looked at a Roman Wilson play earlier in the season where it was a very similar in-break here. And then all of a sudden, he just kind of takes it on an angle and heads way out towards the sideline and kind of leaves Aaron Rodgers like, okay, I guess I'll throw it to you. But if you just sat down and flattened it a little bit here, you get the ball here and run after the catch.
Shower's asking, will that leave Roman Wilson out? Not necessarily, but I'm not even worried about Roman Wilson right now because I don't know what it is with him. I mean, he needs to grow up and understand that you're in the NFL and you better put the time and the effort into this because he's not a good route runner right now. And all these things that we're talking about with Dobbs, he didn't do this year.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to bring two guys in depending on who the quarterback is. And I think it should be, and I know a lot of people think we should take two wide receivers in the draft. And you know what? If there's a steal there late, I get it. I want to see a day 2 pick on a wide receiver. I do want to see a veteran free agent brought in who's a quality, like Romeo Dabbs to me is top of the wish list. I mean, and because I think he's a great compliment. I also think he could be a number 1. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think DK is the best number 2 wide receiver in the league, but he needs a guy like this where the quarterback can sit back there and say, my only option cannot be DK Metcalf. It's got to be a guy like this. And now all of a sudden, you want to double DK? Sure, knock yourself out. We'll go 10, 12, 15 yards down the field. You know, and I also think we'll see, but I'm buying a lot of stock in Pat Freiermuth this coming year. I think he's going to have the best season of his career under McCarthy because he really knew how to use tight ends in Dallas. Not so much in Green Bay, but I think that might have been more of an Aaron Rodgers thing in Green Bay.
Yeah. Dak likes throwing the tight ends for sure. Definitely more than Rodgers did. But yeah, I mean, Romeo Dobbs, I like the way he changes tempos in his routes too. The first one we saw how that hesitation lasted longer. And this one it was like quick, a little hesitation and snaps inside. So I mean, a little contrast to the way those two routes played off each other back to back too.
And in fairness here, Mr. Steeler fan, I don't necessarily agree with that because Green Bay is so deep at wide receiver. If he goes to an offense like ours, where his only competition for targets is DK Metcalf in the wide receiver position, you notice one thing about Dobbs here, and part of it's because we're showing highlights. Those hands are nice. We're not going to see the DK dropsies. And that's a problem he's had his whole career. Dobbs holds on to the ball.
Dobbs does have a low drop rate for sure. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but I do know he has a pretty low drop rate.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So next play, Dobbs is going to be the guy coming in motion here. He does a really great job of reading and recognizing the zone here in that motion. So once he sees nobody follows him, right here he just finds it. A little opening. So this just shows he's not only good against the man coverages that we've seen, but he's also good in the zone coverages. It's just reading and recognizing a little zone. So this is very simplistic. This isn't going to blow anybody away.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of times that some guys are better at reading man. Some guys are better at reading zone. He just seems to like understand football in a totality. He sits in the perfect spot right there, gets the ball, gets upfield, gets a little. I can't remember if he ended up finishing the first down or not, but he did a pretty good job of making sure they were in manageable situations immediately after.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like. Let's see if we can.
So this is the one he's in a slot. He's going to run a little fade up the sideline here.
Yeah, and he picks up the first.
Yeah, he did get the first down.
Mm-hmm.
So on the next play here, he's in the slot again down at the bottom of the screen. He's got man coverage over top. He's going to run like a little fade route straight up the sideline. But here's what I liked about it. He does not get too far toward the boundary. A lot of times guys will run that all the way out to the boundary there and not give any room for the quarterback to deliver the ball. Because you also saw on that same play, the safety ends up coming down across. Now he's got a long way to go there. So you can see there's still some good separation. But because Dobbs is still a good, I don't know, what is that, maybe 3 yards away from the boundary?
Yeah.
You're giving Jordan Love all kind of room to throw that ball, to make a completion. And as a quarterback, that takes the pressure off of the quarterback to make a perfect throw because he knows, okay, if I miss a little bit outside toward the boundary, he's still got plenty of room. Dobbs makes a nice catch on this play as well. So it was a really good throw, really good catch. But I just like the way that he kind of stacked the corner up, got it his outside release, and then immediately, gives his quarterback plenty of room on that sideline where he doesn't force that ball into a tight window.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's just little nuance things with him. Like these are the things I love about him. So this time, Dobbs is the wide receiver on the outside. Johnson is man-to-man on him again. He wins a little inside slant. And again, we talked about Johnson's a nice corner in this league. He's a pretty solid corner. But it's just, again, like the way he utilizes his tempo. He's waiting to see if he's going to get a jam. He doesn't get a jam, but look, he just gets a little tempo, and then boom, he hits that slant hard. And again, it's all about the timing. He knows when to hit that. He knows when Jordan Love wants to get rid of the football, and he makes sure that he's available for that ball. I mean, that's just great timing in his route. And if we're going to run the West Coast, that's what you want. That's exactly what you want.
Yeah, and it's – he's a guy I've liked. I was very high on before the season. I was like, hey, let's throw the house at it and try to trade. And end up he was Green Bay's number one wide receiver, mostly due to injury. But I always thought he had the talent, and he's a guy who, like you said, will be affordable. You don't have to break the bank. And I know some people are saying, well, let's draft two. I'm not opposed to rookie wide receivers. But if you're going to rely on him, and the Texans kind of ran into this a little bit once Nico Collins got hurt, that, hey, I love Jaden Higgins, and I liked Jalen Noel. But when it got down to it in the playoffs, later in the playoffs when those guys were out, they weren't quite ready for prime time just yet. And part of that, C.J. Stroud was not great in the playoffs either. But, you've got DK Metcalf. And if you're look, let's just be honest, because he said his name in the press conference. If Aaron Rodgers is coming back, you can't roll two rookie wide receivers and DK Metcalf.
He won't throw to either one of them.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy is not going to do that. Although I think they'll be better at evaluating who those wide receivers are. But yeah, I mean, and Dobbs is a young guy. He's not that old. He's like 26. So
yeah, he is young.
Yeah, I mean,
did you have one more play in his package?
No, that was the first play of Alec Pierce.
Okay.
Which, speaking of which, this is target number 2, and a guy who really gaining some momentum, at least in the Steelers sanctuary. Yeah, Chad.
Dave's going to get his flowers on this one because Dave's been very, very high on Alec Pierce. Up until we were actually doing this breakdown, I was pretty lukewarm on Pierce as far as a receiving target because I didn't think he was very much of a polished route runner. I always just looked at him as just a straight deep ball guy, contested catch guy. Come to find out, he actually led the entire team in yards. He had 1,003 yards on the season. He played 15 games. And, I mean, you want to talk about average depth of target, 18.9. This dude is a big play fucking monster. And speaking of monster, he's 6'4". He's about 200 I forget what his weight is. He's a big dude. I mean, he's a very, very big
you know what?
This is the Romeo Dobbs play. Okay, I thought there was one more I had in the package.
Yeah. Hold on.
That's fine. I know which play this is. I can call this one out too because this is the one I picked against him with Riley Moss. Riley Moss is a much more athletic player than Dobbs. So when I talk about how Dobbs is not an athletic guy, but he knows how to use his leverage against guys. So Dobbs is at the bottom of the screen right here. Moss is going to be lined up one-on-one in a man coverage against him on this play. Moss is much more athletic. I think his RAS score is like 9.66. I looked it up when I was doing this because I wanted to get a more athletic corner against him just to show. Again, he does a great job of making sure he gets his outside release and then snaps this play off. Now, this ball's thrown in an area that's not great for him, but he makes a contested catch. So, I mean, Dobbs knows how to use his size, even though he's not like a huge receiver. I like the way that Dobbs was able to kind of use his size and his leverage against Riley Moss, who's – I mean, I'm not trying to say Riley Moss is like this ultra-talented cornerback or anything, but like the athleticism, and he's a decent corner. I mean, Dobbs does a great job of showing exactly why he understands the game so well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Trent, we're going to have to call an audible here. because it turns out the Alex Pierce is. I'm having to re-download it right now, so we're going to have to jump to option number 3 here.
Okay, option number 3 is not my favorite of the 3. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. He's an interesting guy. Oddly enough, he's still playing. So,
yeah, let's put him up here. Mr. Rashid
Shaheed. So Rashid Shaheed's a guy who I was surprised he plays outside as much as he does. But this was actually the first opening series against the Rams. So anybody who watched the game this weekend, you saw this play. So he's just lined up in a one-on-one out here on the outside, on the top of the screen right there. He's a burner. There's no doubt about that. Shaheed is definitely a burner. He's a guy. He's a deep ball threat at all times. He gets his outside release on the DB and just cooks him right off the line. This is what you can get with a guy like this. When you got that kind of speed, Rashid Shaheed definitely can stretch the field when he wants to. So this one's actually – go ahead, Bob.
Oh, no, I was going to say this is kind of – if you're going to have – if let's say Mike McCarthy can reach DK Metcalf and teach him that stick him on top of the gloves is probably not a bad idea when you drop the ball all the fucking time. If he could reach him and make him – because let's face it, some of the West Coast stuff where a guy catches it on a 2-yard slant, if DK holds on to the ball in those two, we saw what could happen in the Minnesota game and other games where he can catch that ball and just manhandle everybody in the middle of the field and say, hey, tackle me if you can. It's not Darnell Washington bouncing off of him, but it's pretty damn close, but it's a lot faster. So a guy like Shaheed as an outside threat, he's an interesting piece, especially if you get more of a slot, like your guy, Mekhi Lemon. If you draft Mekhi Lemon and you bring in Shaheed with Metcalf on the outside, I think Lemon's going to have a lot of room to operate in the middle of the field.
I love Mekhi Lemon. I do. We'll get into him in the draft stuff, but I do love Mekhi Lemon. All right. So this time, Shaheed's actually on the bottom of the screen on this one. Colts make a late adjustment. He finds the zone, so he does understand a little bit about the zones. Now, I didn't like how he kind of kept drifting on this play, but the way that he was able to kind of open up. Nope, we went back to Dobbs.
Yep, there we go.
I didn't like how he continued to drift toward the middle of the field on that one, but he did find a way to sit down in the right spot of the zone, and he found a way to kind of make that one work. So he does understand the defense when he's reading it. So working out of the slot this time out of an empty backfield. Again, this is another zone coverage. This time he does actually sit down in the zone and truly sits down in it. So he slid a little bit as Darnold got a little bit of pressure on this one. So he's in the slot. He's always got the neon green shoes on. He's going to come right in the middle of the field here and just look. He kind of follows Darnold. And so he understands, like, making sure that you find a throwing lane. So some guys will just go and they'll turn and they'll sit. He understood that Darnold couldn't get to the ball to him where he was in that play. So he actually continued to kind of rotate his way out of there. So on this one, he's on the very, very bottom of the screen. He's not a very refined route runner. I don't like some of his route running technique. The biggest thing you have to watch his release on this play. So the DB's creeping up right here. So he thinks he's got a man-to-man coverage. Look at this. How many times are you stuttering your feet before you get into your route? By the time he gets into his route, Darnold's getting hit, and Shaheed is nowhere near beating his guy. Can you go back to that one for a second? Because that drives me insane, and you see it too many times, like when they see these Senior Bowl tapes and stuff when they're in the one-on-one drills. Again, he's at the bottom of the screen right here. You're stuttering your feet for 6 yards, dude. 6 yards without releasing into the route. And by that time, I mean, he was completely – I mean, Darnold was already getting hit. So in this one, he's isolated on the bottom of the screen. So this is a play action. Shaheed ends up running a little deep out on this play. So there's the play action. So his speed, you can see how the speed definitely puts a little fear into the DB's eyes because he just continued to backpedal. And Shaheed breaks a little out route out. So not that he's a great route runner, but the speed does put a little fear into the DB where they have to respect that speed. And so even though it's not the sharpest out route in the world, just the fact that he's a threat to continue to run straight downfield and beat you, that becomes the problem. Because look at the DBs just continuing to backpedal and never even thinking about him breaking this thing outside. I mean, that's easy pitch and catch stuff for any NFL quarterback. He's got 5 yards of separation right there. Then on top of that, he ends up making the guy miss and ends up getting a first down, a little bit extra yardage there.
That's the dangerous part about him is one. I mean, it can go to the house at any time. It could also get intercepted because he ran the wrong route.
Yep, absolutely. So Shaheed lined up at the top of the screen this time. You can see that they're going to have a couple safeties over top in the middle of the field here. So on this one, he's going to just, again, I hate how long it takes him to get out of a break. He runs a little in-breaking route right there. I mean, we just showed what Romeo Doubs does out of that same situation, how he snaps that off really quickly to get back toward the quarterback. Just watch how long it takes Shaheed to do this. So, like, you're going to get some good and you're going to get some bad with this guy. Because, again, why are you chopping your feet right here? The guy's not even close enough for you to beat him. Just break inside.
Yeah, that's two already.
He's not impeding you at all.
Yeah, that's 4 chops. And if he had just cut in, this is definitely an easy completion for Darnold. It's still, you know, I mean, he probably doesn't look at Kupp. He looks right here and says, hey, I got him right here. Maybe he breaks a tackle because that other guy on the outside ain't going to catch him.
No. I mean, that's the kind of thing where, like, you're an NFL wide receiver, and he's I think Murph put up there about him possibly getting a bigger contract than what he's worth.
Mm-hmm.
This is a situation where you can kind of see it because if he snaps that route off. Now, here's the thing about Rashid. You take the bad out and you put some good into the mix. He's also a pretty good special teamer here. This one goes 100 yards to the house against the Falcons. And you can see him following the blocks, setting up the blocks, and his speed just turns on the jets, and he's just gone. So this is an element that we haven't had here in Pittsburgh for a long time. We have not had somebody with take it to the house ability from either the kick return spot or the punt return spot in a long time. Shaheed brings that to the table with you because this is a little earlier in the season, week 14 against the Falcons. That's a 100-yard touchdown right off the kickoff.
Yeah, I did the same angle twice instead of the other angle here.
That's okay. I mean, it's just the other angle showed a little bit more about how he sets up the blocks here and the route that he takes. But this is really, really good.
And Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell get tackled at 30 on this.
Yes. Where he turns on the jets and he's gone. It's definitely a different skill set that he can bring to the table. So if the Steelers were to go get this guy, I'm not going to advocate that they go after him personally, but he does bring an element to the table. And then we've seen the kick return game. Let's watch the punt return game because this is a game against the Rams in week 16. He gets this one, and it's 58 yards to the house. Now, right there, from right there, you can kind of tell he's gone. There's nobody. He splits through everybody. And, again, that speed just breaks right out of it. So, I mean, if you were to go get a guy like this, you're getting him for the special teams ability on top of the deep threat, but you're not going to be getting a total complete package receiver. He's not going to be the best receiver on the market. I would argue he's far from the best receiver on the market. He only had about 500 yards of total offense this year.
Yeah.
You're getting him more for the special teams ability than the receiver standpoint. So,
all right, so we'll toss Alec Pierce back up here. The first play is Doubs, but then we got the rest of this package here. So let's just get
sweet
right past. There we go. There's Alec Pierce.
Alec Pierce. All right, let me get back up in a minute because I passed. Okay, here we go. So if you've watched War Room, specifically the playoff version, you've seen this play once before. Alec Pierce is at the top of the screen. He and Michael Pittman run a little bit of a levels concept here where Pittman stops, brings up the safety. Pierce continues straight downfield, and this is what this dude does. He just catches, bombs. He is a more complete receiver than I thought he was, but that right there just shows something. I mean, his speed, and I think he's got a real knack for tracking the ball. So there's guys who are big, there's guys who are fast, but not everybody can track the ball in the air. He tracks the ball in the air very, very well. I love how he tracks it, and he does do a good job of high pointing it. So he just kind of ran a little out and up right there on that play and ends up kind of just dominating everybody. This play here, he's a jump ball threat as well. So his frame can open up some throws sometimes that really aren't there. He's lined up at the bottom of the screen. Now, this was Derek Stingley on him in this case. So this was a great matchup for him. He breaks outside. He has Stingley. I don't like the ball placement right here, but a better quarterback, this was Riley Leonard throwing, a better quarterback puts that ball in a better spot where I don't think Stingley could have recovered because, number one, he had him beat right off the get-go, and he probably could have kept going.
Right.
But anyway, I love the way that he opens that up because of the way his size and his frame can kind of let you throw the ball anywhere toward him. So on this one, he's ISO'd at the top of the screen. So they motion Pittman over to his side right here. This is something that Pierce is very, very good at. These crossing routes right there. Again, Leonard missed him, but he has the right depth. He gets back behind the linebackers. He sits in enough room in front of the safeties as he runs across there. Leonard completely missed him. He threw it to the wrong guy totally. But this is something that Pierce kind of opened my eyes to because he doesn't just run the deep ball. I think he's really, really good at running these crossing routes. And if we're going to run some West Coast style offense, like look at how he undercuts the linebacker right there. He's open.
Yeah, you deliver that ball on time.
You deliver that on time. He is open. Leonard, that's inexperienced for a rookie quarterback who came in. This was his first start, wasn't it, Bob? I think.
Yeah.
This last game of the season.
Yeah, Riley Leonard.
Yeah.
Honestly, if Phillip Rivers probably completes that pass.
I think Phillip would have definitely completed that pass the way he ran that. Now, this is something that I found very interesting. So he's ISO'd at the top of the screen with Derek Stingley again. He wins this route. So he comes in. Stingley's had the outside leverage this entire time. Pierce's size and frame. He turns this thing out to the post right at the back pylon there.
Mm-hmm.
It's 6'4", and he's got separation. There's nothing you can do as a DB. I don't care how good you are. That was impressive to me because I didn't think he had this in his arsenal. But he does a great job of beating Stingley to the back pylon and just being available for that catch. He's very good.
He was smart enough too not to flatten that and go towards the sideline, but to get a little more depth and go towards the pylon.
Oh, yes. And one other thing I wanted to point out about this, with Mike McCarthy, he likes the bigger framed wide receivers, which thank God, because we're all sick and tired of seeing the 5'7" guys out there.
No more lollipop Gil.
Alec Pierce definitely fits that mold. And the other part of that play was Riley Leonard put that ball up in the air to let him high point it using all 6'4" of that frame. If that's Calvin Austin in that, Stingley can get back on that ball with his length. A 6'4" receiver makes that a little bit more difficult. So I found that kind of intriguing with him, and now having McCarthy as the coach too. So on this one, he's 1-on-1 at the bottom of the screen. I love this route. I love this route by him. In a contested catch, he is very good at contested catches. So you got outside leverage by the corner at the bottom of the screen right here. So he gets inside that release. You can see how the safety is going to give the over-the-top help. Now, he doesn't immediately break this thing across. He waits till the safety commits to following over there. And then as soon as he gets the safety moving, he's going to break back into the middle right there. You cannot flip your hips that way as a DB in the NFL. And high-level corners, once they've got their momentum moving one way, it's very hard to do. I think that's great route running by Pierce. Opens up a touchdown. And again, I'm going to highlight the crossing pattern because this dude's fucking good at crossing routes. So he's the one who's coming out of the top part of the screen there and breaking across the field right now at about the 27-yard line. And look at the separation he gets off of this crossing route. He's got appropriate depth. There's nobody underneath who can make a play on this thing. You've got a corner following another receiver on the other side of the screen there. So he puts himself right in an opening to give the quarterback plenty of room to throw this ball. I think that actually was Daniel Jones, or that might have been Phillip Rivers at the time. I can't remember
And
who this was.
He is a lot faster than people think too. He's kind of a burner.
He is fast. He's definitely fast. So, I mean, I just love the depth of this route right here because the linebacker does drop right there in the middle of the field, but he keeps working across. And as soon as he sees where that opening is, he comes right across the middle of the field, gives a nice little opening. And these are the type of things we've missed in Pittsburgh for a really, really long time.
Absolutely.
So this time he and Pittman are going to be working out of the twin set down at the bottom of the screen there. 49ers kind of in a cover 4 look. Pierce again hits a post. You can see a theme with this dude. There are certain routes he's really, really good at. He hits this post strong because he's got that size and the speed to get there.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's just a contested catch. It's not a
contested catch. He's got the DB on his back pocket, and at 6'4", if you've got a DB on your back pocket, man, that's a tough play for any DB when you're that tall. And another contested catch. He's very good at contested catches. Like, I will say this. Pause 1 second. People are going to think I'm insane. He's a pretty fucking similar player to George Pickens in the way that they operate. He doesn't have the catch radius that George Pickens has, but if you want to throw one up and let a guy go get a ball downfield on any part of the field, like he's capable of making any of those catches in contested catch areas. He's a very good contested catch kind of guy. And then, Pickens, we always talked about here, Pickens should have ran more slant routes and things like that. Like he can hit these type of routes and these deeper crossing routes and things like that. Like getting him out in motion and across the field, like he's just a big play waiting to happen. He's not going to be the pedigree of what Pickens is, but like you can see similarities in their game.
Yep, absolutely.
So on this one, he's the bottom receiver. He and Lenore are going to battle on this one. So Lenore, I picked Lenore on this one because he's a physical corner, and you can really see the size. So you see Lenore creeping up at the bottom of the screen right down here on Pierce. He thinks he's going to get a good jam on Pierce, but Pierce still does a pretty good job of getting off the line. And then I like how he worked back inside of him right here. So Lenore kept drifting, and I would have liked, I think, Pierce to get off the line a little better than he did, but the way he cuts back inside of Lenore and gives himself a space to open up, this ends up being another big gain. And this is what this dude does. He just catches the ball for big gains time and time again.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Lenore's going to try to make a tackle. He's going to drive him about 10 more yards downfield because he's huge. He's a physical player. I really, really, really came a long way around now on Alec Pierce. I think as much as I love Romeo Doubs, I think Pierce is my favorite free agent target.
Yeah, I still like Doubs a little better than Pierce, but I won't be upset if he's wearing black and gold for sure. Steelers fan brings up here word on Saints right. I'm pretty sure they picked up his option. But they kind of said in the middle of the year he is not available.
No, I think they're going to try to pay him. They're going to work out a deal with him. I think if that gets ugly, I'd be all in.
I'm guessing, and this is Anthony's burner. If you're a fan of the show, and we hope you will be if you haven't watched it, I am not remotely a fan of Anthony Richardson. I wasn't a fan in college. I wasn't a fan when he got drafted. I mean, a guy who can't complete 50% of his passes has no business. I don't care what you do at the combine. Look, could somebody maybe put together a package for that kid where, an RPO type of deal where you kind of come in and give him 5 to 10 plays a game? Yeah, you could probably do something like that. Maybe a pass or two here or there. But if you're thinking that's going to be my quarterback, you don't get more accurate as you get older, in my opinion. I think if you either have accuracy or you don't.
Yeah.
and he doesn't.
No, Josh Allen's the exception to the rule. He's not the rule. Anthony Richardson, I was never high on him coming out. I said that he was going to be a bust when he came in, and he looks just like a bust. I mean, you can't play football in the NFL without completing at least 60% of your passes, and he's not even close.
Yeah, so I've seen some of these names get mentioned, so we're going to look at trade targets, and we're kind of going to do that like we did last week, Trent. We'll throw out a name and what we give up for him. But before we do that, there are some other free agents that we didn't break down. I know you started to do Christian Kirk, but then you were of the opinion he sucked, and we weren't going to actually do his tape.
He was so bad. As soon as I saw, quarterback rating when targeting Christian Kirk was 40. It was like 40.1. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, that's atrocious. So the only team he played well against was, go figure, the fucking Pittsburgh Steelers. He absolutely went off on us. But outside of that, he only had like 239 yards total all season. When I see a quarterback, rating of 40.1, like, that's pretty bad. So I bailed on him. He's 31 years old. He was better before injuries, and I don't know that he's ever going to be that guy again. So I totally bailed on his tape.
I'm not personally a fan of Jennings, but I can see why some people like him. I don't know that. I mean, I feel like you're getting just a pretty high-end wide receiver 3, low-end wide receiver 2 with him. And if you're targeting him in free agency, I don't know that I would pay a lot of money to get this guy.
I'm not paying a lot of money for him, and also I'm not 100% convinced San Francisco is going to want to let him leave. Obviously, the Ayuk situation is where it is, but there's they're going to need to add back to that room. I don't know that they're going to let him leave. They're going to try to get a deal done with him. I would be surprised if he gets about 12 to 14 million, though. I think he's in that range.
And knowing San Francisco, they'll wait till 3 days before the season to do it.
Yeah, right.
This is a guy I'm not particularly high on, not because I don't like the player. Loved him coming out of South Carolina. I just feel like he's given his body to the cause, although he was a little better in Washington than I thought he would be, and that's Debo.
Agreed. Yeah, I was totally out on Debo when he was available the last time. I think he did play better in Washington than I thought he would. I still did. I never was like in love with him as a receiver. He brings something different to the table that a lot of receivers don't bring because of he's versatile in so many different ways that it's, I think, fun for offensive coordinators to kind of work with him. And that's why he and Shanahan, I thought, worked so well for years together. Shanahan found ways to work with him.
Right.
But I for West Coast offense, I don't love him at all.
There's a guy here. He's wildly inconsistent. Okay. And I know this, he's from Pennsylvania. But Jahan Dotson has got an interesting skill set. And there are times where he looks like the first-round draft pick he was, and there's times where he doesn't. I mean, if it was a flyer, I'm not bringing him in as my big free agent, but if I got him on a flyer, I don't know that I would hate that.
Yeah, I think he's a guy who probably works better out of the slot, even though he kind of came into the draft as a guy that was being presented as an outside receiver. But I think he started to look a little better in Philly, playing out of the slot with 2 outside receivers already established in that offense.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like a horrible third target in an offense. Like, I just don't. There's a disconnect with that kid somewhere. I don't know what it is. Like you said, he's very hot and cold. It's almost like he wakes up in the morning and decides what level of effort he's giving that day. Like that's kind of what it reminds me of with him. And I don't know how much you would trust a guy like that. I think you would want to make sure. Honestly, you would think a guy like Aaron Rodgers would be the quarterback to bring him in on. If Will Howard's our starting quarterback, no, I don't want Jahan Dotson in the building because he's going to need a veteran Hall of Fame kind of guy who tells him what to do, and that's the kind of guy he might listen to, not the guy who's a first-year starter.
All right, well, let's have some fun, especially since Dave's not here, but he'll be watching this and salivating and probably jerking off to some of the names on this list.
Can I say this before you get to the trade targets?
Yeah,
I would not hate going after Wan'Dale Robinson at all.
In the
to be
new
our slot
offense,
receiver.
Yeah,
a slot receiver with his shiftiness and the way what he did in New York this year, I wouldn't hate going after him at all because he is a very much better version of what we thought Calvin Austin should be.
Right. Well,
I mean, he's very similar size and everything, like 5'7". I think he's about $160. He's actually lighter or right around the same weight as Calvin Austin. They're pretty similar body types, but I think he's a better player than Calvin Austin is pretty easily.
Well, I mean, if he stays with McCarthy for the weekend, he'll put on 20 pounds just automatically, which is what he needs to do. All right, so let's talk trade targets. It seems far-fetched, but if A.J. Brown, who is probably on the market, what would you give for A.J. Brown?
I wouldn't go above a second. I think he's going to fetch a first, potentially, not for sure, but potentially he's going to fetch a first round. Number one, I'm sold that dude's going to end up as a Patriot next year. I just think it's happening. Vrabel and A.J. Brown have a connection there. Number one, he played well with Vrabel. A young quarterback who loves to throw the ball deep and will spread it around. A.J. Brown's never going to have time to cry about targets. But I wouldn't go above a second because the other thing about A.J. Brown is his separation rate has continuously gotten tighter and tighter and tighter each year. I think over the last 4 years, he was getting an average separation rate of 2.9. He's down to about 1.7 now. So, I mean, over the last 4 years, that number is consistently shrinking, which means I kind of think that he's getting close to being cooked.
Well, the one thing I'll say about that is him and Jalen Hurts obviously don't get along. And I wonder if part of that is I ain't going to get the fucking ball anyway. So what am I going to do? Run my ass off for knowing that it's not? And because there are times in games where you see all of a sudden it's like Jalen Hurts, okay, now I need a big throw. I'm going to look at A.J. Brown, and A.J. Brown's like, you haven't thrown to me all fucking game. You think I'm going to dive or run for the ball for you? Fuck you. I think it's beyond dysfunctional in Philly. So I think he may still have something in the tank. But I'm with you. I mean, I don't even know that I'd go a second. I'd go with because you got to pay him. You know, and he's getting a lot of money. I mean, I might go a third. I might even go a third and a fifth. But I don't think, which is kind of what AB brought way back when. So I would kind of maybe throw that package out there.
Wouldn't it be funny if because those two are cousins, right? AJ and AB. Yeah, I think they're cousins. Wouldn't it be funny if they got the same trade package towards the end of their career?
That would be nuts. But this is a guy I love. And, of course, your Buckeye love will shine through. Garrett Wilson. Going to be very interesting because he does not want to go back to the Jets.
I can't blame him. He has been wasted away for the Jets. I would give up a first-round pick for Garrett Wilson. I think he's talent-wise, he's an extremely talented guy. And the side part of this, outside of being a Buckeye, of course, he's a great separator, great route runner. He can get open very quickly. I think he's the style of receiver that we need opposite of DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
He's got top 12, top 10 talent for a wide receiver that's been wasted with fucking horrible quarterback play.
Yeah.
The fact he's even ever gotten 1,000 yards is ridiculous, let alone having it multiple times in that New York system up there. I would give a first-round pick for a guy like Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, and Somber, this is a good point. But according to if you notice, towards the end of last season, Garrett Wilson was throwing it out to anybody who listened. Hey, me and Rogers, we're good. We worked that shit out. He was doing anything he could to get out of New York. So
yeah,
I'm kind of with you. I think that's still oil and water if Rogers does come back. But that being said, I mean, I think after what he went through this year, I don't think he'd be too opposed to having Garrett Wilson out there.
Yeah, I'm not banking on Rodgers coming back because I think it's too much of a coin toss right now to try to predict that. I'm just strictly looking at guys that fit within the guys that we have in the building right now. Garrett Wilson, he pairs so well with DK Metcalf. It would be a pretty lethal duo if we were able to pull that off.
If Miami's starting over, and we know that Dave has deep man love for Tyreek Hill. Not Colin man love for DK Metcalf, but still deep man love for Tyreek Hill. I think if Miami's tearing it down, what if I'm at a fourth because you still got to pay him $30 million a year? Mm-hmm. He's coming off the kneecap. I mean, who knows what a guy like that? But, man, if you could capture lightning in a bottle for one season.
And that's why I would be out on this one, because it's for one season. He's 32 now, or going into his 32nd season.
Yes,
year 32 season. I mean,
assuming he's healthy, probably still, if not the fastest, top 3 fastest. Assuming he's healthy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at this season as a possible throwaway. I don't know that we're going to be super competitive right now. I would rather go with a younger guy. I'd rather draft a guy high up in the draft if it were me. I don't think I would give more than man, if you were going all in, I still think a third is the highest I'm going.
Yeah, I'm only going
I really like Tyreek Hill.
On the West Coast crosses.
Oh, he's lethal. There's no doubt.
Yeah. I mean, assuming he's healthy. Now, if this was 5 years ago, you put him in Mike McCarthy's offense, he might catch because he's great after the catch with the run. He might get 1,800, 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
And then very popular name in chat, at least with one person, but it brought it up a lot. DJ Moore is a guy I've always liked. And I think he's cheap at this point.
I think he's cheap too. A weird up and down season this year. I mean, I don't. It's so weird. It was like he started out slow, started picking up, then kind of cooled back off with the emergence of a couple of the younger guys. Like he kind of held the team together from the receiver standpoint for the majority of the season, I feel like. Mm-hmm. Even though he wasn't always the top target, they were a weird offense. I mean, they really turned into more of a running offense, and when they did throw the ball, he was kind of like their guy. And I don't remember, did he lead the team in receiving yards this year?
I actually don't. Well, he might have because of health. He certainly in the playoffs was kind of the missing man. And let's be honest. You can say how much Ben Johnson did a great job this year, and I agree. I'm not disparaging Ben Johnson, but DJ Moore doesn't like Caleb Williams.
No,
doesn't like playing with him. Doesn't want to play with him. So I think this is a guy. I thought you could have maybe got him at the trade deadline, but then they started to. Okay, they made the run.
Right.
Let's take a look at DJ here.
And the kid's name's not coming to my mind, but the kid from Missouri,
Luther Burden.
He started coming on more late in the season, and I think that's when DJ's role really started to flip toward being the third in line.
He only caught 50 balls for 682 yards. And again, this is a guy kind of like A.J. Brown, where I think there's something left. I don't feel like he was necessarily given the best. He ended up second on the team in yardage behind Colston Loveland, who's a beast. But yeah, I mean, Burden and Odunze, I think, easily out. Odunze had 90 targets. He had the most targets on the team. He only caught 44 balls. But
I know, which is insane. This season was ridiculous.
yeah,
I've always liked DJ Moore. I liked him in Carolina a lot. I thought he was, basically kind of as many players in Carolina where their talents were kind of wasted away with bad quarterback play down there. I do. I think he's right around that age 30 mark too, but I do think there's a little bit more left in the tank for DJ Moore. So I'm sure he's going to want to get out. Shower pointed out he signed a big contract in Chicago last year, which is true. There's obvious disconnect there for real between he and Caleb Williams. So it's not beyond the realm of possibility that he asks for a trade and they grant it.
Yeah, and I think the Bears, there'll be the initial, hey, if Omar calls, don't answer the fucking phone. But he'll probably have to overpay a little bit, I think, to get him. But, if you give up a third, okay. If it's the last of the thirds, I mean, again, you get a functional, professional wide receiver. And if you do go young with Will Howard, you got a guy who he can look at and target, who's reliable. He will hold on to the ball.
Pick 99 for DJ Moore is not unreasonable.
Yeah. Ayuk, I mean, if San Francisco's willing to throw in a fourth, I'm willing to take him. I'm not giving you shit. I mean, I would pull a Jared Goff on them and say, oh, you want him? Yeah, sure, no problem. You can have Roman Wilson. You give us a fourth and Ayuk. You don't like that? Well, fuck you. We don't want to give up anything anymore.
I had him on my trade target list. Realistically, I think they're going to cut him. And I still haven't heard what they're going to do with the contract whole thing, because their big claim is that he broke his contract by, not coming back into the stadium and participating in meetings and this and that. And I think they're going to void his entire guarantees and just have him as a outright free agent because they're going to cut him.
Now, would I sign him as a free agent? Wouldn't pay a lot, but yeah, I might take a chance. And by I wouldn't pay a lot by receiver standards. I'd give him 10, 12 million on a prove it. But beyond that, I ain't giving that guy 25 million, 30 million. He cost himself a lot of money.
I think so too. I think that the way that whole thing unfolded there it's gotten very, very ugly, and it's going to scare some serious teams away. And I think he'll have a market. I don't know that the market's going to bring a lot of money to him, though. But he can have teams interested in him for sure.
Now, this last guy on the list, I'm calling Buffalo right now and offering a 7. Not that I think he's worth more than that, but
yeah.
Hey, you fucking hate this guy.
Yeah.
Let us take him off your hands. Here's a 7th round pick. You want Roman Wilson too? Yeah, knock yourself out.
Yeah.
My man, he's got flashes. He's got kind of a 5-cent head, and we have experience with that in Pittsburgh. I don't know. I mean, if I got him on the cheap, he's definitely got some skill.
You'd have him 2 more years on a rookie contract. Right? This was his second season. So you'd have 2 more years on a rookie contract with him. And did he fall into the first round? Did Buffalo get him in the first? So you have a 5th-year option.
I feel like they got him in the late first.
I think so too. I think you have him as the back end of that first round, which means you would have a 5th-year option on him as well. So you'd have 3 years of team control with him. I think Buffalo has made a huge mistake from a negotiation standpoint, because if I was Keon Coleman,
first pick in the 2nd round.
Oh, was he? Okay. I thought he was like one of the last picks of that first round. So you'd have 2 more years of him basically under a rookie contract. It's not going to cost you a ton of money. And if I was Keon Coleman, after hearing that whole saga go down, I'd be telling my agent, get me the fuck out of here. get me somewhere else. Because, like, if that organization wants to use my name to throw the old coach under the bus, like, I don't want no part of that organization. They ain't paying me that much money.
I saw a funny thing on X this afternoon. Somebody photoshopping in a DC. And at first I was like, fuck no. But then I started thinking about it. McDermott is DC. Would that actually work? Because he's still a young guy.
For us or for Buffalo?
No,
Because I saw somebody put it out. I saw somebody put it out for Buffalo. I was like, dude, you got to be a fucking retard. For us?
For us. He's kind of a 4-3 guy, though.
Yeah, I don't know if he fits what we run.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I trust his defenses, because his defenses are the ones that's really let Josh Allen down for the last few years. So
I've been thinking Al Harris for our DC because of the McCarthy connection. But the more I think about it, I think they knew Anthony Weaver had no shot at the job, but he impressed them so much they brought him in. I wonder if they don't reach out and say, hey, we're just going to let you go with it on the defensive side of the ball, because he would have a lot of toys to play with that he didn't have in Miami. I don't know if the Ravens connection would hurt him, but I mean, if he's a guy you really, really, really liked, I wonder if Art says, hey, by the way, we're not going to force this guy on you, but you need to talk to this guy as your DC.
McCarthy might reach out. I don't know if there's any truth to Jim Schwartz being on the table, but if I think I saw
that's a home run.
Betting odds, he was like the 5th in the betting odds for our DC. That's the guy. I mean, if you can go get a guy, Jim Schwartz is the absolute guy. That's the guy you want. He calls great, and he's not afraid to even tell you what he's about to do and still do it. I mean, everybody knew, Cleveland was going to smother you at the line of scrimmage with the DBs and just let the pass rush eat. We've been begging for that all year, for all year this year when we, allegedly went out to go get these man-to-man cover corners. And we would have it here and there, but never really went all out about it. He definitely would bring that to the table. So Schwartz would be my choice if he's actually out there. And I mean, again, I'm just going on betting odds, but there's some other names that I've seen a lot of people throw out there.
Yeah, I personally, I think he'll go young in DC. But like you said, if Schwartz is really available, and obviously he's 90% probably not going back to Cleveland, depending on who they hire, unless they're going to do a LeBeau thing and be like, you can come in here and do whatever the fuck you want on offense. That guy's got the defense. And by the way, shut the fuck up and leave him alone.
Yeah.
But if he was available, I think he would be the only retread, like DC. Right. I don't like the idea of Raheem Morris paired with Mike McCarthy. Not that he's not okay and he's a pretty good defensive coordinator. I think he has to go with a young coach, because otherwise his career's kind of over. I mean, it probably is anyway. It's hard to get a third shot, but if you're gonna do it, I mean, head coach in way or head coach experience with a young coordinator.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. Just real quick, I know you guys didn't talk too much about this last night, but this Shula is a bad interview is catching fire. Like multiple teams now are saying it. So I wonder, does he get a job this year, and does he maybe fall into the Tony? And this was said about Tony Dungy for years. He probably would have had a head coaching job 3 years earlier than he did if he wasn't such a bad interview.
I don't know. And then that Rams president came out and he basically called the whole thing a bunch of BS and that wasn't true. And if there's multiple teams saying it, then there's something about it, right? I mean, there's no big coercion among teams in the NFL to hold a young DC from getting a job. Like, what would Chris Shula have ever done that would say, oh, yeah, we're all going to gang up on this guy. And we're going to make sure he doesn't have a chance at being a coach in the NFL. Like that wouldn't even make sense. So if you're getting multiple teams coming out saying that openly,
unless the league has
there's some
scripted
truth.
it that he's going to Miami. I mean,
I don't know.
well, I can't even do that anymore because they got
Halfley's already there.
Yeah, I mean, and if I'm if I'm any coach, I do not take the Browns job. I don't. I don't care.
I'm not either.
I mean, I think you're guaranteeing yourself to be awful. I mean, unless you know Schwartz is going to be back with that defense, and you think, look, if I can just figure out a way to score 17 points every week, I can probably win 9 or 10 games and look like a genius. But long term, I mean,
they've had 4 guys turn them down, just flat outright. I don't even want to interview for you, which is, I mean, tell me the state of your franchise without telling me the state of your franchise. You know what I mean? Like you have 4 guys telling you, I'm not even going to interview for you. Just go ahead and take me off the list.
I almost wonder how many of them are like, they sit down in the interview and the first question is Andrew Berry staying? And yes, I'm good. Thanks a lot.
Think about this, the audacity by Cleveland to say, oh, we're all about analytics. You're going to take this freaking 290-page quiz or 290-question quiz or whatever it was of you're going to tell me about the analytics and your thought process and your personality test and blah, blah, blah. Who the fuck are you to tell me anything? You guys are a bum franchise. Like, who are you to tell me I need to go through this to get your fucking shit-ass coaching job? Haven't you guys finished last in the division every single season for 4 years, 3 years? What's it been now? 4 years?
Yeah. I mean, look, me and Shower are on the same page tonight. We're not often on the same page. I'm really loving this, but yeah, look, I do not think he will never get a job. I just think he's got to call plays. I think that knock is real. Or at least do it with a different quarterback. The guy's only coordinated for Matthew Stafford. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could draw up plays for Matthew Stafford, and I don't know dick about drawing up plays on offense. I'll draw you up a defense, but I mean, offense, no, not so much. Other than, hey, the single wing offense sounds pretty good to me.
Single wing, yeah. Get some triple option.
Triple option. There we go.
Shieldhouse. The thing I said about Shieldhouse the whole time, I'd rather take a coach a year early than miss out on him. If he ends up being what he's being billed to be, I'd rather, because I mean, for us, we had nothing to lose this year, really. I mean, we know the rebuild was coming, even if they don't want to admit that it's coming. Like, it was coming. I don't know.
I don't think McCarthy's going to try to rebuild. I think he'll end up. But then again, look, the doom and gloom, and on Friday we'll get a bunch of it with Dave. We give him hell, but his heart has been broken, so we can allow him some room to gripe. Steelers haven't finished last in the division since 1988. Yeah. I just don't think they're going to finish last in the division this coming year. And Cincinnati might be good, but they drafted all defense last year and they sucked. So we'll see. I mean, and I don't think I've heard, and Starkey's been putting it out there. Hey, do we actually have the best coach in the division by default? Because McCarthy's better than Zach Taylor. And
I would think so.
We don't know what Minter is, and Cleveland doesn't have a fucking coach. So, I don't know. I just feel, and this won't be a Tomlin reload. This will be an offensive reload. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm optimistic. I think he's going to do everything he can to win. That being said, and look, I know he likes Will Howard and he thinks that, but McCarthy doesn't think that's the guy. I think they trade or they sign, and maybe he does like Cowher in his early years, where it's just a quarterback fucking parade. But you end up winning games anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know you can win like that anymore, though.
Yeah, I will say this: the whole thing with he and Aaron Rodgers, I'm not sure how much truth there is to him saying that I want Aaron Rodgers back. Because did you listen to him talk about his offense at all? He talked about mobility within quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Aaron has no mobility left. There's nothing left in the tank. So, I don't think that was a ploy to just talk about Will Howard, but Will is very mobile, right? But there's other mobile quarterbacks that are out there right now that he could go get. I mean, we've done the Malik Willis thing now. He's obviously very mobile guy too. There's definitely other guys that he could target outside of Aaron Rodgers. I'd be shocked if Rodgers is back right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. You can tell who's run a business and actually hired people. Look, McCarthy has a coaching tree. He already has one. He's developed coaches. Is he Bill Cowher level developing coaches? Fuck no. Nobody is. Except for the truly great. McVay, Shanahan, kind of in that vein, where we coach our coaches to get jobs. I don't know. I just feel like I think he's gonna pull out all the stops. I don't think after watching the conference that he's gonna go out there and just, it screams stale. No, here's why it doesn't. Because this guy is gonna bring an actual pro offense to Pittsburgh, and they're gonna play offense like it should be played in the West Coast offense. So we are going to look different. Now, it's not going to be, and one of the things that I think we were so hopeless on, you're taking a defensive football team, defense first, that's really never played great defense when the game's on the line. And now you're going to march into Kansas City, or you're going to march in, and play some of these teams and be like, okay, hey, we're going to shut them down. McCarthy's perfectly comfortable, I think, going in and trying to outscore him. So we'll see. I don't think this is going to be the 17-13 Steelers. We might lose a lot of games 27-24.
Yeah.
And I just think our offense is going to look different.
Howard played pretty exclusively out of the spread for the most part. Ryan
and McCarthy likes the spread.
Yeah, he's a spread offense guy. And played a lot out of the shotgun too. So
look, I would love it if
there's not extreme differences between what he ran at Ohio State and what McCarthy's going to want to run here.
My biggest problem with Will Howard, going back to the combine, and I would love it if he would be successful, is he does not have the arm to drive the ball to outside the numbers like you need to in the West Coast. Maybe something's changed in the last year, but I just don't see him have the arm talent to do that. There's precious few guys available. Though that's kind of why I like Malik Willis. I think he does have the arm talent. And
he definitely has the arm talent.
Yeah. So, now you're saying it's a match made in heaven. I thought so. I didn't say that. Easy, Mr. Corab. Mr. D+ draft pick he'll have a chance to make the team.
D+ draft pick.
The one thing I will say is I think McCarthy needs to do this now. Immediately, his first move should be to cut Mason Rudolph. He does not need that bullshit hanging around. No offense to Mason. Hope he catches on somewhere. But you cannot have the part of this fan base that has been touting Mason Rudolph for the last 3 or 4 years hanging over if you go with Will Howard or you bring you bring in a free agent. And if Aaron signs, okay, Aaron signs. But
yeah.
But you can't. I don't think you can have him. I heard people today on the radio. Mason Rudolph is finally going to get his shot.
How many finally gets his shots does the dude need before you realize he sucks?
Yeah,
he came in this year, and his first or second throw in 2 different games was a pick. One was a pick 6.
Yeah.
How many more shots does the guy need to show that he's terrible?
I saw somebody float Will Levis today. I don't
Oh,
think that
Jesus.
would be a good fit. But I mean, you start looking at the backup quarterbacks. We did this last week. I mean, that's why. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, Mac Jones. But that being said, San Francisco's kind of saying, "No, fuck you. We're not trading Mac Jones." So yeah, I mean, who knows? Then again, fucking call Ben up. Say, hey, Philip Rivers did it. You really want to go in the Hall of Fame with Brady? And then see what. Actually, speaking of Hall of Fame, I know we talked about this in prep a little bit. Being that they held Belichick out for a year, do you think this means they're going to hold Ben for at least a year?
I don't know. Possibly.
I don't think so.
I don't think they would either. I mean, that would be a hell of a storyline by the NFL to turn him away. He's what, 7th in passing yards all time?
Yeah. And 2 Super Bowls. I mean,
2 Super Bowls. There's no way you can keep him out off that first ballot. I know going in with Brady's not ideal, but like, come on.
I'm just wondering if first of all, I don't think he'd do it. He probably wouldn't come back. I mean, he'd probably be flattered they asked him, but I don't think he would do it. But I am a little bit worried because remember when he retired, the first thing ESPN had to pipe up on it, he's got a complicated legacy. You know, I hope it's not the case, but I'm worried after seeing what they did to Belichick today.
Do you want to address this thing here with Sid?
Open a betting pool for how long Aaron Rodgers will try to hold the team hostage. But I don't think he held them hostage last year. I mean, I told you guys all along he would sign before training camp, and he ended up signing OTAs. I think he'll say what his timeline is, and if you want to wait for me, and this is any narrative around Aaron Rodgers to me is now bullshit. Because of how he behaved in Pittsburgh. He was great in the press conferences. He didn't do the McAfee show.
Yeah.
He said up front, he told, and they agreed that he said, look, this is my timeline. If you need to do something else, I totally get it, respect it, no problem, but this is my timeline. If you want to wait, great. If you don't, hey, great. I respect you, Mike Tomlin. I'm not going to do it. So I think he'll do the same thing. I don't think this isn't the Brett Favre. He's not Brett Favre. And I think he's very conscious of not being Brett Favre. I think he's truly conflicted of whether he wants to come back and play.
Yeah, I would give him up until the week before the draft. And if you don't know by the week before the draft, then we're out.
Yeah, or at least, hey, tell us, hey, look, I am going to play football, but I'm keeping my options open. But by the draft, you're 3-4 weeks into free agency. So
yeah,
I think that's a fair timeline.
Yeah. He's 85 years old.
Shit or get off the pot. Hey,
no,
you can laugh all you want, but I mean, outside of Willis, who I would probably rank just slightly ahead of him right now, based on the options in free agency and in the draft, he's the best guy.
There's just nothing out there. I would at this point, I'd be fine running Will Howard out there ahead of Aaron Rodgers just because we already know what we have with Aaron Rodgers. Will Howard, he's either going to fall on his face or he's going to succeed. And either way, it wins for us.
Yeah, well,
there's no losing situation there.
Yeah, you're Aaron Rodgers is not going to back up Will Howard.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I would rather not have Aaron at all. I would rather just go out there with Will Howard as the starting quarterback from day one and just say, hey, it's your team, sink or swim.
Rodgers has long said, when I'm done, and I'm going to disappear. I wonder if McCarthy shouldn't go to him and say, Aaron, if you want to play, we're welcome back. But if you don't want to play, would you be willing to be Howard's quarterback coach? Because apparently those two really like each other. And Rodgers has got just a great mind for the game. So I wonder if he would be willing to stay on and maybe do something like that. Although he's always said he's going to disappear.
Yeah. I don't know.
Skylar Thompson. Will Howard would be better to find out what he is. I mean, he's a 6th-round draft pick. I mean, he's a 6th-round draft pick. And I got news. He's not Tom Brady. And this ain't the 2003 New England Patriots. So, that being said, okay, so we're going to be back on Friday with our regular Steelers Sanctuary show. And then Sunday we're going to do the draft show. Coming soon, probably next week, we're going to start doing mock drafts. Trent and I are finalizing what day we want to do these on, but it'll be kind of like last year where I released the videos, but we're going to do it live. So we'll go through a mock simulator with both of us and putting up our grades and all that good stuff. And I'm sure we'll get into draft profiles once the combine rolls around. But yeah, I mean, you guys in the chat, great as always. Like, subscribe, share. It really helps. Did we hit 400 yet, Trent, or are we still stuck like 2 or 3 short?
Good question. Because I didn't look today. We were damn close. We were right there on the border.
Yeah, and Sid, you say that name too? Like it's a bad thing.
401.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. You're really pushing us along. Every episode, it seems like we're getting bigger and bigger. We really, really appreciate it. You guys are the best chat on the internet. I always say that and always put that out there about you guys. So come back Friday. Look forward to seeing you guys then. Otherwise, Trent, you got anything else?
No, I'm good to go. I'm exhausted. I'm not going to lie. So,
all right. So we'll see you on Friday.
And just like that, I left everything. See ya.